I agree with you, peasants. Those nobles and their tax exemptions are destroying this country.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Well said.
It's time for change.
Yeah.
I feel something coming.
The French Revolution, a cinematic project for AP European History class. The government's solution to the debt problem was to increase rates of taxation or decree new taxes. The French tax system could not produce the amount of taxes needed to save the government from bankruptcy because of the corruption and inefficiency of the system. As France slid into bankruptcy, Louis XVI summoned an assembly of notables in the mistaken hope that they would either approve of the king's new tax program or consent to the removal of the exemption from the payment of taxes. They refused to agree to either proposal.
Did you hear? Louis called the Estates General!
What does that mean, Jean-Luc? Tell us!
This is perfect. We'll put together a list of grievances called a cahier and present it to the king. Then he'll be forced to end those unfair tax exemptions for the nobility. People of France, I, King Louis XVI, have come before you to call forth the Estates General for the first time since 1614. It is a necessary measure to address the issues currently facing our great nation of France. Estates, present yourselves.
I am Jacques-Philippe of the First Estate.
I, Abbe Sieyes, representing the Second Estate.
I, Thierry Henry, represent the Third Estate.
Okay, gentlemen, now for the vote.
We of the Second Estate do not agree. I agree with the Third Estate. What is the Third Estate? The answer, my friends, is everything. All of France is the Third Estate.
I've had enough of this. Let's convene in the tennis courts.
All right, Third Estate!
Seems as though Louis has locked us out of the Estates General, forcing us to meet here in this lowly court.
It's time we took matters into our own hands.
Let's form a National Assembly.
A National Assembly?
Yes, on June 17th, 1789.
But can this really work?
Yes.
Can the Third Estate unite into one agreeing body?
Yes.
Then so be it.
The Paris Revolution began. Angry because of food shortages, unemployment, high prices, and the fear of military repression, workers and tradesmen began to arm themselves. On July 14th, they stormed the ancient fortress of the Bastille in search of weapons. The fall of this hated symbol of the royal power gave the revolution its baptism of blood. The king recalled his troops from Versailles. The spirit of rebellion spread to the French countryside, triggered by rumors and hysteria. A feeling of fear and desperation called the Great Fear took hold of the country. Peasants attacked manor houses, symbols of noble power, in efforts to destroy legal records of their feudal obligations.
I've never been so afraid in my life.
The peasants are revolting in the countryside, and they're being led by the bourgeois. They're gonna kill the nobility.
I'm trembling with great fear. Great fear. Great fear.
Don't worry, they won't get to us.
Ah!
Ah!
Ha! I finished the Declaration of Rights of Man and the Citizen.
Awesome! Does it guarantee rights for every man?
Why, yes! Yes, it does!
Great. Looks like our National Assembly is working. Now what we need to do is secularize religion and perform governmental reforms.
A fine idea. With this document, the future of France is bright.
Yeah.
Louis, we've had enough of your tyrannical reign of destruction. Today, on this day, January 21st, your reign shall end, and I will rise. The age of Robespierre, a revolution to be remembered.
Louis was then decapitated by Robespierre by means of guillotine. Jean-Paul Marat was an ally to Maximilien Robespierre and to the National Convention. He was later assassinated by Charlotte Corday, who disagreed with his views, killing him by knife. His final words were, "À moi, ma chère amie," or "Help me, my dear friend."
Now that Louis is out of the way, I have risen to power. Robespierre, the new era. The reign of terror.
Committee on Public Safety! Committee on Public Safety! Committee on Public Safety! Committee on Public Safety!
Okay, so why didn't I like the French Revolution? Well, let me explain. The French Revolution occurred over a very brief period of time. It wasn't gradual at all. In fact, you might even say that the bourgeois completely controlled it. The peasants had no influence at all. The masses just they had no say in what the revolution was going on. The bourgeois just spoke for them, and then it's really just not acceptable for a revolution. Now, take the English Revolution, for example. It occurred over a much longer period of time. There were, I think, 3 or 4 different governments involved. And then it was really more of a revolution of the masses because they got more rights, and there didn't have to be a need for hundreds of thousands of people to be killed like there was in the French Revolution, when under Robespierre and the Reign of Terror, there were hundreds of thousands of people murdered just because they wanted to oppose the government. Oh yeah, and this Robespierre fellow, I don't like him at all. He's a complete idiot. English Revolution, it's much better. This Robespierre tried to do it all in 1 year, and that's why he ended up getting killed at the end.